I'm Joanna Small, Public Information Officer for the Wheat Ridge Police Department. It's Friday, February 17th, and this is your WRPD Video Week in Review. Here's a summary of some of the most notable incidents your Wheat Ridge patrol officers responded to over this past week or so, as well as cases our detectives could really use your help in resolving. Overnight on February 16th, officers doing a proactive patrol at one of our local hotels observed a suspicious vehicle still running with the driver passed out over the steering wheel. When an officer approached the passenger side, he noticed the remnants of drugs as well as drug paraphernalia. Officers roused the driver, who then admitted to using methamphetamine. She was transported to the hospital and is facing driving under the influence of drugs charges. Also on February 16th, officers went to Lutheran Medical Center for an aggravated motor vehicle theft report. A patient's 2003 gray Dodge Ram 1500 pulling a 10-foot Big Tex utility trailer was stolen while he was receiving treatment at the hospital. He told us there were several firearms inside the vehicle. At this time, we are attempting to locate it. On February 15th, officers were called to a two-car collision at West 44th and the eastbound on-ramp for I-70. When they arrived, they discovered the two SUVs involved and learned neither driver nor the children in the backseat of one of the vehicles were injured. But the driver of the causing vehicle did give officers a false name. Eventually, she provided her real name, and officers learned she was a convicted felon from another state with warrants as well. She also had multiple driver's licenses, none of which were valid. Officers found a handgun in her vehicle, which, while the gun was not stolen, is illegal given her felon status. She was cited for careless driving, driving without a license, possession of a weapon by a previous offender, and criminal impersonation. On February 13th, officers responded to an odd call for help that ended in the individual incriminating himself and landing in jail. He was at an RTD light rail station and called 911 because he said he was drunk and did not remember how to get back to his house. When we arrived on scene, we ran his name through a law enforcement database and found that he had a protection order preventing him from consuming alcohol. He was jailed on that violation. Also on February 13th, officers responded to 29th Avenue and Ames Street for a disturbance that then escalated to a physical altercation. When we arrived, we found a 42-year-old man lying in a pool of blood. Witnesses said the man was an Uber driver and had just dropped off an order. They said the victim got into a verbal argument with someone walking a dog and the fight turned physical. The victim was knocked unconscious and the man walking his dog, who was also with a woman, left the area. As of this writing, detectives are still investigating this assault and searching for a suspect. And also on February 13th, officers were called to Safeway regarding a possible theft. The manager at the store quickly pointed out the suspect, who then agreed to a search of her purse. Inside, officers found methamphetamine, a significant number of suspected fentanyl pills, and drug paraphernalia. She was also found to have 3 warrants for her arrest. She was jailed on the warrants, and possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia charges are now pending. Overnight on February 12th, our patrol officers were called to assist the Golden Police Department and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office when they attempted to contact a suspected DUI driver passed out behind the wheel of a vehicle. The driver pulled a handgun, menaced officers, then fled on foot. A Jeffco canine, who we later learned was Graffit, the department's most senior dog, located the suspect, but unfortunately was shot and killed in the process. We are devastated by this terrible loss, and our thoughts are with our brothers and sisters at JCSO while they mourn. WRPD officers held perimeter positions for several hours during this incident. We were honored to be able to lend our expertise and personnel. Thank you for your service, Graffit. Also on February 12th, officers responded to what turned out to be a vehicular assault on Colorado 58 and Arbutus Street. Originally, it was reported as a single vehicle crash in which the vehicle had jumped the guardrail, but when we arrived, we discovered it was a 2-car collision, and the driver of the causing vehicle was suspected to be under the influence of marijuana or other substances. 2 of the people in the vehicles had what was categorized as serious bodily injuries, although not life-threatening. That's why the causing driver now faces vehicular assault charges. On February 11th, WRPD patrol officers were called to assist firefighters when an unknown cloud of smoke was detected within the King Soopers in the 5300 block of West 38th Avenue. The store was evacuated by staff before fire officials and patrol officers arrived on scene. The hazmat team from West Metro Fire tested the air quality of the store, then determined Freon was escaping from a broken coolant line. Officers kept the scene secure until the smoke was cleared from the store and business could resume. Officers also made countless arrests of people with outstanding warrants who were contacted as a result of trespassing on private property or called in as suspicious people. Many of them were found to be in possession of small amounts of drugs or other drug paraphernalia as well. Some of the contacts were as a result of jaywalking, which is extremely dangerous and rampant in the I-70 Kipling area. Officers also wrote approximately 36 traffic citations and recovered 5 stolen vehicles. Now here's a case that WRPD detectives could really use your eyes on, so please take a look at your screen. We told you about this in our last video, Week in Review, and posted about it this week on social media as well, but it does bear repeating. On January 29th, these 3 males, likely juveniles, robbed the Come and Go in the 3400 block of Clear Creek Drive. They took only cigarettes, but the crime was terrifying and violent. One of them pointed a gun directly at the clerk's head. They then fled in the gray-colored sedan pictured on surveillance, possibly an unknown model Acura with an unusual-looking black and white personalized plate. If you believe you recognize any or all of these suspects, please call our investigative team at the number that's listed here. Again, take a look at your screen. On February 3rd, around 2:30 in the morning, security cameras captured a man walk onto a Wheat Ridge property in the 4300 block of Teller and take a motorized bicycle. The owner was in the process of building the bike and was using parts from several other bikes to do so. It's of significant value. The owner says worth about $3,500. Here is a list of some of the parts used to build it. The suspect, according to video footage, is a white man who was wearing a dark-colored heavy winter jacket, hat, mask, jeans, red shoes, and light-colored gloves. In this brief clip, you can see him walking away with the bike. Again, if you believe you have any relevant information about this crime or this suspect, please call the number that's listed here. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. And remember, if you need us, we are always just minutes away.